Don Lemon shocked by deep blue New Jersey voters' support for Trump in 2024. You know why I love this story? Don Lemon basically does his man on the street interview. I don't know if they have it looks like they don't actually have the tweet. He was in Atlantic City, I think, right?
Yeah.
And he's walking up to people and he's like, who are you voting for, Trump or Kamala? And a lot of people are basically saying Trump. And then he's like, why? Here's what I absolutely love right now, okay? One person said Trump for the win. And he says, does it have anything to do with being a woman? Okay. One guy said 4 years ago was a lot better. I made a lot more money than I do now. Lemon pushed back and said, I know you feel that way, but that's not actually what the record shows. The economy was better under Biden. The voter laughed and Lemon said, I'm serious. And then the guy said, do you watch CNN? To Don Lemon. Now, here's what I find really funny about this with Don Lemon. This is the Democrat argument. To all of those listening, when you're sitting down with mom and dad or your aunt and your uncle and they're liberal or whatever, and they're like, well, the statistics show that the economy is actually better under Biden than it was under Trump. Say, then why does everyone think it's bad? Ask, like, who do you believe more? A government statistician or literally a run-of-the-mill carpenter guy who's like, I can't afford to make ends meet? Why is it that the independent voters, 2-1, and Republican voters are all saying the economy is not doing well, but Democrats think it is? Don Lemon going to a guy who quite literally is saying, I'm not making as much money as I used to. And he goes, you're actually wrong. The economy's better. It's like, my guy, I'm not making money. Why are you telling me some statistic? It's the most insane talking point from liberals right now when they're like, actually, according to the government, inflation is down, unemployment is down, and things are better than ever. And there's like some lady and she's like 110 pounds gaunt being like, I can't feed my kids.
It's according to Biden. His economy is great. So I don't know why you would question it. It's just like a gaslighting campaign. And I hate to use that word. I feel like it's sometimes overused. But in this case, they're telling you to your face, as he asked him genuinely, like, why are you voting? And he's like, it was better. I was doing better financially under Trump. And he's like, no, you weren't. Yeah. You don't know anything about him.
I'll just show this, okay? When you walk up to a regular person and go, the data suggests the economy is good, and 53% say it's getting worse, 27 say getting better, and 18% saying the same. 53%, the majority of people are saying the economy is getting worse. And then Don Lemon walks up and goes, you're wrong, actually. The things you're experiencing with being unable to afford gas, rent, groceries, or otherwise are all just you because you're a failure and everyone else is doing well.
People can't afford as much. You know, I sell finished goods. For example, people can't afford 5 pounds of whey protein at a time now. We had to standardize the 2-pounders. Because people just can't afford to buy that much. So they'll just save up, wait for the paycheck to come in. They'd rather buy every 1 week to 2 weeks and budget then than buy a month in advance because people just don't have the expendable income. I know this from a micro standpoint, running multiple businesses that sell finished goods. At the end of the average household does not have as much expendable income. And that's from my direct in the economy. And that's the problem with the government right now. That's why I need to run for office sooner or later, is that none of these people have ever run a business. They've ever balanced a balance sheet. They've never done a P&L. They have no idea how this works. They've never deal with, the funniest thing was when someone pointed out a Walmart made this much operating profit. And someone's like, no, operating profit is not what you made. That is, they don't even know how these work. You need someone with business acumen. And that's where Trump kind of gets it. Because even though, he was just his dad gave him $1 million. Now he has buildings in every major city with his name on it. Don't tell me that man can't grow a business.
Yeah, Trump's story is interesting, right? Like, he might have been born wealthy, but he made it even better. I mean, that's really what I think a lot of, like, the legacy of the American dream people want. Like, you want to be able to have something that you can then help your children build off and build even more with. Yeah. And I think that's why you hear so many voters. I mean, you'll see man on street interviews where voters will be like, well, he's a businessman, so he knows what he's doing. That idea that he is not just like a politician who's been hanging out in Washington passing bills that seem to never actually get anything done. In fact, he has built something and he can point to his, and I think this is very like Americana, being able to like point to your skyscrapers in New York City or your hotels or something like that. Like, there is concrete proof of his success in a way that like you just kind of have to trust that Biden and Harris have done something with their lives.
To be a politician, to be in any form of office, you should have had to run a business, because the entire purpose of this is to keep this thing running. They can't. And that's why I keep telling my wife, I'm like, I need to run for office one day. She's like, no, don't get into that. I'm like, if I don't, who will? Because it's at the point now where the real business owners need to sacrifice. And look, let's say Trump had $1 million, I think, from his dad, something like that. When I die, my kids are going to get money. If my daughter, let's say, takes $1 million and then there's Lobliner buildings in friggin' London, I'm gonna be like, whoa, she crushed it, right? That is called taking an investment.
And I think the important thing to understand is people don't know how much $1 million really is.
It's not much.
So let me stress. Everybody knows.
Say a lot. Oh, okay.
The average
for business, no, you can't
Nothing.
start a business from not even close.
The average person's going to say something like, man, if I had $1 million, oh, dude, I'd pay off all my debt. I'd buy a house. Okay, your average car dealership generates $1 million per month, and their profits are nowhere near that. It's everyone's salary. It adds up. So let's say you have you have a car dealership. Let's say you have 100 employees. So you've got salespeople, you've got mechanics, you've got detailing, then you've got delivery drivers, whatever. At the end of the year, how much are you going to pay? Maybe 100 is a lot for a dealership.
I was going to say, yeah, that's probably
30,
something around there.
30 people.
Yeah.
30 people. So you got each of them is going to average between 60 to 70,000 per year, which is the
Mechanics 45 to 60, 70. Yeah.
Okay, so you're looking at a couple $1 million right there per year. And so then you've got the cost for the land, you've got taxes, you've got your inventory, you've got fixing up all the vehicles, all of those costs, how much money is coming in. And so I went to a local dealership, and this is like a year ago, and they said, we generate about $1 million a month. And I was like, and that covers your costs. And they're like, it's about break even, basically.
Yeah.
And so the average person thinks $1 million loan, man, he must have had so much money. And it's like, dude, $1 million is absolutely nothing. Yeah. Maybe this is what, in the 80s or whatever. $1 million was effectively $5 million, I guess, back then. Now that's a good angel investment in a modern startup. You're going to be able to operate for maybe a couple of years at startup level to get something going. Trump turned that into his name on buildings in every major city. That's a successful business.
Yeah. Can I put this on a micro scale? Scaling, growing a business, right? So Ambrosia Planta, we're in all Sprouts and Vitamin Shop, this and that. Let's say I hit a home run and I land Walmart, which is a possibility. Do you know how much it's going to cost to fill that order?
Well, explain landing Walmart.
So landing Walmart, Walmart goes, we like your product. We think it's going to sell off the shelves. We would like to place a purchase order. And the purchase order is, let's say, $1 million purchase order. I have to fill that order. Now, with profit margins being down, with all the operating costs, it's going to cost me hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, which we don't have just sitting around. So what do you have to do? You have to go to either a board if you're a company that has partners and a capital group behind you, or you have
Shark
to go
Tank.
to the bank. I don't know if Mark Cuban likes me anymore. Although my daughter is going to his school, but
so let's play this game.
Yeah, I love this game.
Here we go.
This is my game. I love this game.
Let's create a fake product.
Yes.
It's called Mark Bar. Okay, you've got outright, so now you launch Mark Bar.
Good name.
I knocked off my own bar.
It costs you no, it's like a new version. It's like this one's got
no sugar.
Yeah, and it's got there you go. And so it costs $1 to make each bar. Mm-hmm. Then you've got and let's say it's everything, staffing, ingredient sourcing, and everything, $1. How much do you expect to sell that for? So then Walmart comes to you and says, we want, 1 million bars at our stores. How so $1 million isn't going to get you. They're going to a little bit more for incidentals and things like that. Mm-hmm. How much would you need to sell that bar for?
To Walmart or to the consumer?
So Walmart's buying it, and Walmart's going to sell it, right?
Yeah, but we have the Walmart cost and then what their end price is, right? Because they have to make money too.
Right.
So generally speaking, depending on the discounts they want, the bar would end up selling between $2.99 and $3.50.
For you to sell to Walmart, when Walmart sells the bar after the fact, do you get a piece of that or no?
So Walmart would place a purchase order, pay us. Then it's their inventory to sell.
Right. So here's where I'm going with this. Walmart says we want 1 million bars from you. Mm-hmm. It costs you $1 to make each bar. How much will you sell each bar to Walmart for?
So if they're selling, so it depends on what
we don't know what Walmart's selling it for.
Okay. So their minimum cost would have to be between, I would say it would be, just doing the math top of my head, have to be at least $1.50 to $2.
So you would say, okay, so $1.5 to $2 million for me to complete this order.
And that's minimum, yes.
So then Walmart is thinking we have to sell this for at least $3, right? Mm-hmm. And then Kamala comes in and says, $3, that's too much. You can't sell this for more than $2.
We go out of business.
Exactly.
We bankrupt. So basically, companies will just go under if they ever try to price fix. It can't work because there's not enough margin built in. They do not factor in the cost. To be able to price control, you would have to go in and audit each company and look at their cost of goods sold and then determine what is a fair cost of goods. What is a fair profit margin? And also you got to understand there's a lot of other costs. Actually, the price is probably closer to $2 because you got insurance, which is through the roof. You got legal fees. You got to understand you have to dedicate, you could probably speak to this as well as me, at least 10% budget a year to legal expenses. At least. We're getting class action lawsuits out of California. You ever see those Prop 65 warnings? Those aren't because it's literally, it's on everything. It's on furniture. Right. It's on, and the reason you have to put it is because if you don't, even if you have passable levels, they'll sue you anyway.
Now here's the best part. Let's say you end up selling, it's $1 to make the bar. You've got to cover insurance, legal, all of these things. So you're like, we're going to do $2 and that's going to give us
$2 is fair. Yes.
$2 is fair. And that's going to put 10 cents per bar profit. Profit.
Yes.
Then you sell a $2 million package, and with that profit, you get all these protesters being like, how much money did he made 5% return on all those bars sold. And what people don't realize, how much of that profit has to go into the bank to actually sustain the business's operating costs. Outside of the cost of producing, you have to have, I would say, you want 6 months to a year of operating minimum available. So you make a profit. And you're like, now with this profit, I'm putting it in the bank. Because if you are running on, let's say your business, let's say Microsoft or something, they go, or no, Amazon. Amazon made $5 billion last year. Okay, how many warehouses do they have? How many employees do they have? And what's their monthly operating cost? Let's say their monthly operating cost is $300 to $500 million. And that's what they spend outright every month to maintain the entire infrastructure. They can't have zero in their bank and live paycheck to paycheck. They make $5 billion. They say, we're going to keep $3 billion in the bank as cash on hand so that if we get a downturn 1 month and our revenue dips below our fixed operating costs, we don't go out of business. Then you get these Democrats being like, they made $5 billion in profit. We should tax them on it. And they're like, okay, now we're down to now we're down to $3 billion. So we've got just shy of a year emergency operating costs. We're hitting a recession. We're not going to be able to cover our fixed operating costs. Layoffs. Now we're going to lay off 10% of our workforce.
And they already do.
Yep.
If you have an S Corp, they tax you on inventory. So if I pay myself, and this might be a real thing that happened, if I had a decent year where I'm able to scale, grow, and launch new products next year, let's say I pay myself $50,000, yet I have inventory. I might get a tax bill for $200,000 to $300,000 personally, because in S Corps, you're taxed both on the business and personally.
Yeah.
This is the worst. I don't know how other countries are, but it is almost impossible to run a business and to scale, and 94% of businesses fail. The government wants you to fail
because they want Amazon and Walmart to succeed.
Bingo.
Actually, I think Milo was talking about this in the culture war, basically saying that entrenched bureaucracy makes it impossible for small businesses and the individual to navigate the legal system. Walmart likes it when new regulations get in. Facebook likes it when new regulation gets in because they have the billions that they can spend on legal to navigate this, and the small guy can't compete. So it basically locks them in and boots everybody else out.
That's why what we've been saying, it's easy to do your Amazon, this and that. That's why, I'll unabashedly say on X, I'm like, hey, support tigerfitness.com. Like, it's friggin' tough out there. We're going up against Amazon. We're trying our best, but at the end of the day, the system is working against small businesses. So if you want to build this parallel economy we're talking about, invest in what you're doing, your coffee shops, your coffee, everything Tim sells. Everybody who comes on here who you think is cool, who you agree with, support them, buy their books. Because at the end of the day, man, by percentages, only 6% of us are going to make it. So we need to support each other. That's what it comes down to, because the system is rigged.
Well, if Kamala actually does, it's Kamala, right?
Yes.
Now they're complaining about her name so often.
That'd be racist.
Yeah.
I just call her Harris, right?
People call her Kamala, and then they get mad at you.
Like a football player.
They get really offended. You don't know how to pronounce her name properly. It's Kamala. But anyway, if she actually does implement price controls, the collapse is fast.
Very fast.
The supermarket chains operate on a 1% to 2% margin. And so this idea that they're bringing to the look at the protesters marching around DC. I mean, marching around Chicago, the DNC. This is who they're pandering to, who have no idea what's going on. And they say, we're going to make it so your bread is cheaper. And they're going to go to the supermarket and say, knock 10 cents off your bread. And they're like, the bread's profit is only 2 cents per loaf as it is. If you take 10 cents off, those companies will stop selling the bread. So I'll throw it back to you, Mark. Let's say you sell the new Tim bar, a low sugar protein bar, $2 a bar. Then Kamala shows it to Walmart and says, these health food bars shouldn't be this expensive. People deserve health food. You can't sell at Walmart for more than $2.30. So they say, okay, well, then we can't make money. And hey, Mark, we're not going to order any more because of price control stopping us from selling it at a margin. If you could knock the price down, then you say, I can't knock the price down. I'm barely breaking. I'm making enough it is. Then you come to me and say, we're discontinuing your bar. We're going to switch to styrofoam bars instead because it costs 10 cents.
And that's literally happening right now.
Yep.
That is happening as we speak. We've had to cut off great vendors great retailers because their demands were too high and we weren't making money. We did an analysis of one customer of ours. We actually lost hundreds of thousands of dollars selling to them.
Don't you have to like pay extra to be on Walmart to get into Walmart to get the good spots?
So I'm not going to give away the secrets. Walmart's actually, I'm not singling out Walmart. They're actually
just in general. My bad.
Walmart is probably one of the best retailers, cut and dry to work with in the country. Walmart's actually awesome to work with. They're great. But at the end, a lot of retailers aren't. There's a lot of, and also you're not including slotting fees. You're not including promotions. So to get on a shelf, you need to pay them. Hey, we need a one time a year per SKU, $10,000.
Yep.
So if I have 7 SKUs, 70,000 out of my profits right there. Done. So it's so hard to navigate and it's so hard to, because you think you have your margins figured out and then they're like, oh, well, we have this extra cost. Oh, well, we have to take this rebate. And then you got returns, you got damages. Where's the money? Where's the money? It takes a lot to work. That's why General Mills, Post, Kellogg, that's why they crush it. Because they're a multi-billion-dollar company. You got a little guy like me trying to compete on that battlefield? Yeah, it's hard.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.